As we're working on preparing you to do ministry in a modern context, we're very aware, as I'm sure you are, that the world is a rapidly changing place. Doing ministry today simply is not the same as it was 20 or even 10 years ago. If you're preparing to be a pastor in today's world, you're dealing with a whole range of ethical, moral, and oftentimes even technological issues that simply weren't on the map 10 or 20 years ago. If you're preparing to be a counselor, even though the problems and the needs of human people are largely the same that they've always been, you're working in a context now where you have to deal with growing legal issues, technological issues. How are you going to deal with the internet and computers in your counseling practice? You have sexual issues that you have to deal with, addictive behaviors that we weren't aware of or weren't dealing with in the same way that we were 10 or 20 years ago. So as a counselor, you have a set of issues that wasn't the same that it was in previous years. If you're preparing to be a missionary, globalization and issues of transportation have completely reshaped the nature of what missions looks like in a modern context. Really, whatever ministry you're preparing for has really been reshaped in the last 10, 20 years. And we're very aware of that. So as we look at our degree programs and we think through how can we adapt our degree programs to best prepare you for that rapidly changing context, we're constantly working on those kinds of issues because we want you to be well prepared to address the most vital and important issues of the modern world. At the same time, though, we don't want to just prepare you to address those issues with the lessons learned in the last 10 or 20 years. Those are important lessons. We want you to know and understand those lessons, but at the same time, we really want you to understand how to address modern issues with the essential truths of God's Word and the classic wisdom of God's people. We really think that in our degree programs here at Western, we need to have a bit of a both and when it comes to doing ministry in a modern world. Both an intimate knowledge of and missional commitment to the modern world, and a solid understanding of God's eternal truth and the classic wisdom of God's people.